Alright, so in this new tutorial, I'd like to show you how can we create our own database table. So let me just jump into the localhost database, localhost/phpMyAdmin, and let's access that. Alright, so for the password, I'm using the username root and no password, so this is the default settings. Alright, so I'm gonna jump into my website, which is simple LMS-2. So I would like to create my own table here. But I want that to be created automatically once we activated our plugin, so that we can store all these details about our courses. So here, for example, if we edit, you can see that we have the subtitle, price, video trailer, and curriculum. I would like to save all these data into the database. Alright, so let's jump into our code and let's get to work. So I'm on the index page. I'm gonna scroll a little bit down and let's create a new comment, and I'm gonna be calling it create a database table. Let's call it, for example, course details. Alright, so let's go down and let's start with this function. So first I'm gonna be creating a function. Let's call it database table, and let's open the parentheses and let's go down here. So the first element is we need to start by calling the database, WordPress database. So global, and let's add the $sign. So I need to write WP-DB, so which is WordPress database. So down below we need to write the name of the database table that we want to create. Let me just show you. So for example, the name of this one. So I would like to call it course details as always. So let's create a new variable. Let's call it course details, or you know what, to make things clear. So database table name. So this variable is going to be used just in this function, so I'm going to go further. So the name of it is this. I would like to call it, for example, LMS course details. So this LMS is going to stick to all the tables so that we can make them in order. Just, you can see LMS, yeah, something like that. Alright, so actually what we need to do right now is to add the WP at the beginning of our database table name. But the problem is sometimes it won't gonna be DB. So sometimes you might have some admin who is changing this WP to something else. So actually what we need to do is to let WordPress take care of this first part, this WP dash. So in order to do that, let me just delete it, and we need to write the prefix. So prefix, but before that the WP-DB again, WP-DB, and let's call it like this, prefix, and I'm gonna press point, and now WordPress is gonna take care of that first part. The prefix, it's gonna be the WP or anything else. The next thing that we have to do is to add the car set or the character set variable. So this is one of the procedural, we have to do it. So just write it down just as it is. So car set, and let's make it equal to the following, which is WP-DB again, WP-DB, and let's connect it to get car set class. So just write this variable, it's gonna be useful later on. Okay, so the third one is gonna be the content of our database table. Let me just show you. For example, if I click on this post meta, you can see here the content of this table. We have the meta ID, the post ID, the meta key, and so on and so forth. So we have to write the content. So let's do it. So let's start by creating another variable. So let's call it course. Can't type today. Course that or details, and let's make it equal to the following. So we have to start talking to the database. So in order to do that, you need to write in uppercase. So create like this, create table. So table, the name of the table is, we have to copy this this name. So let's copy this variable, gonna be pasting it over here, and let's open the parentheses, open it and close it. So also here we must close this one like this, and here let's go down. So also let's, so the first element, let me just make some space. So the first element that we need is the ID, the course ID. So this is essential. I'm gonna explain, just follow with me. So ID, you know what, we can leave this ID to be the last. Let me just go here, and let's start. For example, we need a title. So the title of the course. So when you create title, so this one, you need to set the type. So the type of our title is, of course, is a text. So I'm gonna write text here, and also you can limit the amount of text that we need. So for example, because this is important for the security of your plugin. So you don't want to keep it unlimited, so I'm gonna just limit it to 100 characters. And also I'd like to add the condition of not null. So I don't want this this variable or this column to be empty, so it's gonna be not null. Alright, so let's add comma and let's go down. So let's go back to our ID here. So the type of our ID is gonna be a number. So I'm gonna write int, and also we can control the amount of it, but I think that's fine. Well, no, let's give it, for example, 9 digits. It won't gonna be exceeding that limit. Also here, let me just add some pressing tab so that we can keep everything in order, like this. Okay, so this is the nope. No, just revert back. Okay, and also let's make this one not null. So this first ID is really essential. I'd like to explain that in the coming minutes. Alright, so the third parameter or the third variable that I would like to add is the subtitle. And also we have, so the subtitle, I'm going to just also keep it as text. And we can set it to 500 digits. Alright, and also it must be not null. Alright. So next we have the video. So for the video it's gonna be URL link. For the video I'd like to give it a different type. I'm gonna call it var char, so variable character. And let's set it because we might have some weird characters and stuff like that in our URL. So let's keep it like that, and var char. And I'm gonna also limit it to 100, so 100 is enough. Alright, and as always, not null. Alright, so now the price of our course. So this type, the type of it is gonna be just an int, a number, and we can also limit it to 9 digits. But also keep in mind that it might also include the dot, for example, something like this, 47.99. So I think that's 4 digits. Alright, so let me just set it to not null. And we have next, let me just add the comma. Let's add next the thumbnail. So the thumbnail is gonna be the URL of the image associated with that course. So we're gonna be needing this one in case we want it. So for example, in the archive page or anything else. So I'd like to keep all the details that we need. So let me set it to text and also not null. And the last element that we need is the content of the course. So also it's gonna be text. And let's set it also to not null. Alright, so here we need to set the primary key for this table. So the primary key. So in my case, I'm gonna set it to ID, and let me explain. So basically, when saving a row of data to the database, it must have a unique character that cannot be duplicated twice. So this unique character will make this row unique, will make it special. So I want you to think of this like having 2 files on your desktop with the same name. So obviously Windows is gonna prevent this from happening. Alright, so let's explain this further. For example, I want to retrieve this value, this 11, this value. So what is the nature of this one? It's a meta value. So basically we're gonna tell WordPress to select this meta value from the database. So first go to this database table and select the meta value. It's gonna tell us that there is a lot of meta values. Which one do you want? So in this case, we need to rely on a unique ID. So in our case here, I'm going to be relying on the meta ID. As you can see, it's not duplicated twice. So it has a unique ID. So for example, I'm going to tell WordPress to select the meta value that has the meta ID of 16, for example. So it's going to go here to 16 and it's going to select the meta value that we want. But imagine if you were relying on the post ID as the primary key in our case. So for example, we want to select the meta value of the post ID that has number of 13 for example. So it's gonna go here, which one? 13, this one, there you go, but it's gonna get lost. Which one do you want? Because 13 is duplicated, the post ID of 13 is duplicated 3 times. We got one here, and one here. So which one do you want? Is it this one or this one or this one? That's why we need to have unique ID. So in our case here, we rely on the ID of our courses because the ID of our course is unique. Each course has its own ID. That's why I chose it. We cannot rely on other aspects, for example, the price, because the price can easily be duplicated. We can have 2 courses that has the same price. Same thing go for the subtitle, for example, or even the content. Alright, so now let's add that variable, the course set. It must be at the end, so course set, and I think that's it. So let me just bring everything back. So something like this. Okay, so let's give some space, remove that extra space, and I think now we're good. We also have to add a semicolon here to close this car set like this. So semicolon, we have this quotation marks and another semicolon. Alright, so let me go down here and let's add another line. We need to add double lines. So first we have to require a file so that we can be able to register that database table. So require once, it's gonna be an apps path. So apps, and the file that we need to add is the upgrade.php. So wp-admin /includes / again upgrade.php. Alright, so let's close that. And now we have to add the second line, which is the database delta. So database delta, and let's open this one, and we gotta put the name of that of this one, the table. So let's just, not the name of the table, but the content of the table, so that we can be able to create it. So let's write it here and let's close that with a semicolon. Alright, so now we're almost done. All we have to do is to execute this function. So in order to do that, we need to add an action hook, or a registration activation hook. So let's add it. So register activation hook. Yes, the first one, and the first one's gonna be the file. And for the second parameter, as always, is the name of this function, which is database table. Let's just copy it and paste it here. So basically, we're gonna be running this function once we're activating our plugin. So it should not be we should not keep creating this one on every occasion. So it should be just once we activate our plugin. Alright, so let's give it a check. I'm gonna go back to my dashboard here, and I need to go to plugins. We need to deactivate our plugin, but also here we need to take a look. So let's do refresh. As you can see, we don't have any LMS course details table. So let's go back here and let's deactivate the plugin first, and let's activate it and let's take a look. And as you can see, we got it. So our operation is successful. We have our WebPay LMS course details. Also, it has the ID, the title, the subtitle, video, price, thumbnail, and the content. So in the next coming lecture, we're going to be inserting data from this let me just show you from these. So once we press update here, we can write something here. Once you hit update, these data are going to be stored here in one row. Alright, so see you then.